Oh, yeah. We are back. We are back. We are back. Took a little hiatus last week, a little vacation for our producer here and the gentlemen that are my co-hosts who are not here this week. It is me and me alone with side commentary by Austin's on the ones and twos as always. Everyone get your drinks out. Let's toast to the ability for most of us to be able to have a drink with another person, have open and honest dialogue, and being able to still walk away being friends. Salud.
Cheers.
All right. I want to welcome you to another week. Thank you very much for being with us. Start off the week, per usual, with the verse of the week. This one is one of the absolute most impactful verses of my life. It is so amazing and strong that I stick with the old school King James Version to allow it to hit hard. You ready for this one, Austin?
Oh, I'm so ready.
You always are, I know.
Absolutely.
Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and of good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, he it is that doth go with thee. He will not fail thee nor forsake thee. Too many of you are complacent and quiet about what's happening in American society today. And I'm telling you, I'm begging you to please start speaking up and start being loud, because the degradation of our society has gone on for far too long. We see many different groups popping up. We see mother bears who are being extremely loud. I'm speaking directly to the men out there who watch my podcast, even though the vast majority of listeners per our demographic breakdown is women. Shout out to the ladies out there.
Adds up.
But men, any ladies that's watching this, if you're next to your man, tell him, start speaking up, start manning up, grab his cojones and speak up for what's right. Be strong and fear not. I've got your back. Right, Austin?
Absolutely.
That's right. Nothing to fear. They are not anything to fear. Let's jump into what the topics of the past week or two have been, and have conversations about what I believe to be things that we need to discuss. That's simply it. Things we need to discuss in a way that kind of brings some kind of common sense to it. Let's start with the first one. That will be a very simple, very quick. Fauci, our daily COVID update. Let's see what Fauci had to say recently about his time during the COVID last 2 years. Fauci says, this is the title of the article, I didn't recommend locking anything down during COVID. How can he claim that? How can he say that? How can he dare put such a ridiculous statement out there? I didn't recommend locking anything down during COVID. That's exactly what they're going to say, because it's midterms election time. They're going to come out and tell you that they didn't do it. We didn't say to do it. The president did it. We didn't say to do it. The businesses just decided to close on their own. You know, they were just doing what was right for their own employees, their own customers. It wasn't us that mandated anything. It was the businesses that did it. We didn't mandate it. The hospitals did. Don't let them lie to you, because they're going to come out with straight up lies during every campaign season. And we know there's a lot for them to talk about this year that they're just going to have to either accept it as their own fault, or they're going to pass the buck, or they're going to outright lie and say, nah, that wasn't me. What are you talking about? That wasn't me. One thing that they're going to have to discuss is the Inflation Reduction Act. Let's bring that up. That's part of the climate change actions that they're doing, the Green New Deal. First, yeah, let's talk about that clip right there from Project Veritas. Never forget when Project Veritas, you scrolled, I can't see it.
Sorry.
when Project Veritas caught Charlie Chester, he's the CNN technical director, on a hidden camera where he warned us that the climate change agenda was up next. Do you remember this? I know those of you who watch my show or who listen to my show, you're smart enough to know. So you're smart enough to remember that they caught him on video stating that they were proud that they got President Donald Trump out of office. They were elated about it, and that they know that the next thing they're going to have to push after the COVID and monkeypox, it's going to have to be climate change. They said we're going to push climate change like no other. And here we go with the Inflation Reduction Act. The article says, here's what's in the Inflation Reduction Act, the sweeping health and climate bill passed Sunday. Look, I can promise you that a lot of the Inflation Reduction Act has nothing to do with decreasing inflation. It has nothing to do with it. I actually, being in my position on city council, I have direct conversations with those who are influential in the energy field. And RG&E right now, which is a local utilities company here in Rochester, New York, is looking to increase our bills. Increase our bills about 15, 20%, something crazy, something absolutely ridiculous. And especially during a time where inflation is skyrocketing, people aren't able to get jobs. Their savings are just blown out the water because everything that they had to pay for has gone up in price. And I asked this person because they stated that, they're looking for feedback to bring back to the state elected officials to try and push for RG&E to not increase the energy bills. And I brought this person the Inflation Reduction Act. And I brought to that person the exact quotes from Chuck Schumer. And I said, Democrats state that this Inflation Reduction Act is going to lower my energy bill. Can you please explain to me how this Inflation Reduction Act is going to lower my bill, but at the same time, RG&E is increasing my costs because their cost of business is going up? And it took this person about a week to get back to me. Not even a week, a few days. Let's give them credit. And they stated, well, yes, your charges will go up, but then they're including tax relief so that if you can go purchase a new HVAC system, they're going to give you a grant for $2,000. If you go purchase a new solar energy system to put on your roof, they're going to give you a grant for this much. If you improve your HVAC system to a point where your bill would actually reduce because of your investments, they would then, on top of that, give you a grant. I said, we live in Rochester. How many people, Austin, how many people in Rochester do you think, percentage-wise, that can afford to purchase a solar farm on their roof in today's day and age in the city of Rochester?
I mean, obviously, like 100%, right? I mean,
obviously, because Democrats rule Rochester, and so therefore we can't lie to them,
right? And
if we're going to tell them that the Inflation Reduction Act is going to decrease their RG&E bills, it can't be not true.
Yeah, they wouldn't lie to me.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, not many people can purchase that. I can't purchase a solar farm on my roof. I would love to. I can't. And on top of that, it really doesn't reduce it that much. Every time I see one, I ask the people if they're sitting out on the porch or walking around in neighborhoods. I always ask them, hey, that solar system that solar energy field that you have on your roof, how much has it decreased your energy costs? And they said everything that it decreased it, inflation just ate it right up. And now it's more than ever. I said, well, mine has doubled in cost, so I guess that makes sense. On top of that, they're going to give you, $4,000 to buy an electric vehicle? What world do we live in? What world do these elected officials live in that they are saying we're going to reduce your costs by forcing you to upgrade your equipment? It blows my mind. The Inflation Reduction Act does not reduce inflation, and it doesn't even reduce anything until 2023 at the earliest. And I think for that, it had to do with Medicare bills when it comes to insulin, which, if you remember, President Trump did decrease the costs of insulin without needing an Inflation Reduction Act. Just going to put that out there. I'm not sitting here. People think that I worship Donald Trump, or I am a voter of Donald Trump, or I'm a follower of his.
Well, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. Like, I need you to stop just,
giving him credit.
Just all the time telling me how great Donald Trump is.
Right.
Just as soon as the mics go off, you're like, oh,
immediately
make this podcast better? More Donald Trump.
Yeah, if I could reach that Donald Trump pen over there and let it talk.
Yeah.
It's look, I'm at this point, we can give people credit where credit's due. And this right here is it says in the article as well, Vice President Harris makes deciding vote on the Inflation Reduction Act. I give Vice President Harris zero credit because there is zero credit due for her. Zero credit. Let's get into the daily conspiracy theorist, Mr. Alex Jones. He's been getting himself into a little bit of trouble recently. Well, not recently. Always, should we say. He's always been getting himself into trouble because the man has some crazy ass freaking conspiracy theories. The man is insane with these things, but at the same time, he has been proven right sometimes. So, like, you gotta, again, I'm not,
broken clock is right twice a day.
Absolutely. I'm going to give the credit where credit's due. Alex Jones has been right about quite a few things. Now, stating that the Sandy Hook shooting was a hoax, I can't agree with that. I can't agree that was a good conspiracy theory to pass along to the people and push towards your followers, because you can't tell people that your children were not murdered and that the people who are crying on camera were staged actors. That's just not you have to understand certain fights you want to fight and certain fights you don't want to fight. This one was not a fight that you would want to fight. And it's going to cost him. I think they're trying to get him for $150 million. They got him for what? $8 million?
$4 million.
$4 million. Yeah, they're seeking $150 million for quote unquote. The parents had sought at least $150 million in compensation for defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress.
What I do wonder.
Go ahead, jump in there.
What is the legal definition of intention? What was it? Intentional infliction of emotional distress? Is that what the phrasing? Is there a law about that? Are you not legally allowed to intentionally inflict emotional distress?
Is there a law for that? I've never seen that in the Bill of Rights.
No, the right to not be emotionally distressed.
Well, the right to not cause emotional distress, because anyone can be emotionally distressed. They can watch my podcast and be emotionally distressed.
Right. Well, I guess, but so what? So, well, I guess your camera's.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. But like I will say, like, I don't know what that means. Like, what does
it actually mean?
What is the legal, like, what case are they referring to when they say that?
Well, see, my issue with this, and this is why it's in the category of supposed conspiracy theories, because I believe that there's going to be a war on conspiracy theorists, which they've already been kind of doing. They've been blocking you on social media. They've been censoring you on social media. So we know that that's happening. But now people can sue you for disinformation.
Well, you know what he doesn't have?
What doesn't he have?
He doesn't have an allegedly button.
He does not have the allegedly button.
Allegedly. Yeah, and that's what he needed.
That he does need that, because that has saved us a couple times, I believe, from YouTube shutting us down.
Yeah. That allegedly button is no joke.
Hey, it fits. You know what? Make your own decisions, people. Look, you don't have to. I appreciate you coming to the podcast to listen to common sense. I appreciate you coming on. Those of you who may not agree with me, or maybe on the other side of the political aisle, which I don't think I'm on any side of the political aisle. Just I'm in the middle of the aisle. I appreciate you coming on and listening to the antics and listening to the ridiculousness and listening to the just common sense is really what it is. But there's people out there who get butt hurt over everything. And the blessed thing about America is that you can sue for various reasons. That's also one of the worst things about America is that you can sue for various reasons.
Yes.
You can sue a doctor for, whatever
I
reason.
do think defamation is a particularly slippery slope, though, in terms of like suing, because you can never control the impact of your words. You can only control your intent. And so, it's a hard thing to prove. First off, like defamation, it's
Right.
one of the hardest type of cases to win in the American system because our First Amendment is so broad. So the fact that he lost is significant.
It is. But my issue personally, I can't sue anyone for defamation because I'm an elected official.
Mm.
So people are guaranteed a right to basically just say whatever they want with me. And they've done it. We've seen it. They've been saying whatever they wanted and doing whatever they wanted and printing and putting on social media, whatever the hell they want, because they are not held to the same degree as me. Well, that's fantastic. That's a beautiful thing about America, our freedom of speech. But Alex Jones, man, you're going to have to pay for that one. You're going to have to suck that one up, pay for that one.
Well, they must have been able to prove damages in some way.
Yeah, I didn't see any of the actual court case.
Me neither. I don't have the.
Was it even on? It was on an app.
I'm sure you could watch it somewhere.
Yeah, it's probably on YouTube somewhere. Yeah, somebody was watching it.
Yeah.
I didn't pay any attention to it because I was like, I feel like that was the fastest case ever, though. I feel like he was just.
Yeah, it does seem like it was quick.
Like they just named him in this case like 2 weeks ago, and now they already have a $4 million.
Like I feel like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case lasted 3 years, and this thing was over in like 2 weeks.
For real. Well, that goes again. If they're coming after conspiracy theorists, they're gonna come after you.
Yep.
Ukraine war update. We are sending yet another $1 billion in military aid. Another $1 billion in military aid to Ukraine. Do you think we've sent enough? I feel like, and not only that, there was I believe it was ABC News that came out and said that maybe half of that money was actually reaching the front lines of the war.
Sure. Where'd the other half go?
Probably into photo shoots with Time Magazine.
Oh, sure.
And flying, Ben Stiller out to Ukraine in the middle of a war.
What?
Yeah, Ben Stiller was out there.
Oh, just trying to cheer people up. Like, hey, look, everybody, Blue Steel.
You went with Blue Steel over friggin' Grab It by the Horns.
Oh, man. Wait, what reference
Average
is that?
Joe. The Average Joe Jim.
Average.
Oh, the Dodgeball?
Oh, Dodgeball. Yeah, White Goodman. Yeah.
It's White Goodman.
Right? Is that his name in that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love his purple and black outfit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel like Blue Steel is a more instant. It took me a minute to think of your grab by the horns. I actually did. It's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor.
I actually did that.
He sticks his pizza down his pants.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of characters, and Ben Stiller has played some of the best characters, I'd say. Some of the best characters on screen.
And then I feel like he went like full Bill Murray, and that like he like tried to be like serious for a while.
He did.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't care about this.
I liked him in some of them.
Yeah,
some of them. It's like Jim Carrey when he went serious.
Yeah, they all do that.
I feel as though if I were them and I was always playing comedies, and I was always being typecasted, I'd be like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and do an indie film just to show off my acting skills.
Yeah, like a Memoirs of an Invisible Man sort of thing,
or Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh yeah, Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I love that movie.
I hear it's good. I haven't actually.
You haven't seen it?
No.
Eternal Sunshine. If you haven't seen it, it's a fantastic movie. I love the movie. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I've heard only good things.
What was another one he played? He played in Man on the Moon.
Oh yeah. Kaufman. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I think that the background footage about Man on the Moon was better than Man on the Moon. It was about
Yeah.
him transforming
Yes,
into
yes,
Andy Kaufman.
Absolutely. And just being like a dick on set.
Dick all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
Man, that was so good though. I think I
Absolutely.
watched that probably a good 3 times. And just seeing
the
him
movie or the behind the
No,
scenes?
behind the scenes.
Oh yeah.
I only saw the movie one time.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can only see a guy, slamming girls once.
Yeah.
Well, nowadays you can watch it on UFC and
Sure.
it's like a normal everyday thing.
Yeah, of course, normalizing it.
Yeah. That he did normalize it, didn't he? Thanks, Jim Carrey or
Yeah.
Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
That's the root. That's the start of it all.
Yeah. I like how we went from Russia, Ukraine to Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
That's how the politically correcting podcast rolls.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of, we talked about Alex Jones a little bit there with his crazy, just dropped all my notes there. With his court case that was done within 2 weeks. Another court case that just finalized was the Ahmaud Arbery case, which I can't believe they weren't already sentenced. I thought it was done and over with. I thought they were guilty and sentenced and were already spending the rest of their life in jail. But father and son sentenced to life in prison for federal hate crime and killing of Ahmaud Arbery. This is one of the many cases that kind of fell through the cracks because it wasn't a police officer killing a black man. It was a legitimate racist family and friend hunting down a black guy who they said they believed he was a burglar. Okay, fine. Let's say he was a burglar. I can't believe I'm even talking about this. This is what, 2 years ago?
Yeah,
February 23rd, 2020. They said that he was in a empty house. They thought he was stealing some stuff out of this empty house, and they chased him down. He was running, and so they killed him. Look, anyone with legal guns or anyone who has been trained on operating a gun knows you don't hunt people down. Right?
No, you can't shoot someone in the back like who is already run away.
Yeah, he's legitimately turned away.
Yeah.
That you can't do. And we've seen a couple of times when a police officer has done that. I saw one particularly when it was a person who was passed out in their vehicle because they didn't want a DWI, so they passed out in their vehicle in a parking lot. Police showed up, woke him up, got him out of the vehicle, did some DWI tests, found out he was, drunk, and then went to arrest him. The guy runs. And they shoot him in the back and they kill the guy. Like, these are things that I think the vast majority of Americans would say, yeah, that's not okay. And we will stand behind you on that every day of the week. I will stand behind them every day of the week when you shoot a guy in the back who's literally running away because he doesn't want to get a DWI. You should be able to chase the guy down. As a police officer, you need to have the physical capability of chasing a guy down.
Someone who's shit-faced, yeah.
And just woke up. You just woke him up.
Yeah, the groggy drunk man. Yeah, you should be able to catch him.
My wife did that to me the other night. I don't recall it. She told me about it.
What, you were the groggy drunk man?
I went home like a good boy.
Yeah.
I went to bed early like a good boy.
Sure.
Made sure I was not out in public being too freaking drunk. I said, I'm going to go home. I'm going to knock out. I'm going to wake up early. I'll be good. I guess by the time she got home, because we were out with family friends and stuff like that, I was in bed like 10 o'clock. And so she comes in a little bit later than that. I was already knocked out. And I guess she came in like hitting me with the pillow and saying, get out. And I woke up like fast and grabbed the pillow. Like I thought I was being robbed or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Wake you up to get that military instinct.
You could easily tackle me. If my wife can startle me in that scenario, I don't get startled. Like her and my son have tried so many different times to try and scare me. Like, we're coming into the room, and like it's dark. It doesn't work on me because I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of very many things. And if you know me, you know what I am afraid of, which I'm not going to say on air because I don't want nobody using it against me.
Spiders.
Snakes.
Snakes?
Yeah, I'm terrified of snakes.
Oh, you're like my mom.
And eyeballs.
Okay, well, I mean, but just like detached eyeballs? Like just the idea of like...
Anyone like messing with their eyeball? I don't like when...
I'll get stuff getting near your eyeball? Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's no...
Or seeing somebody put contacts in?
Yeah,
that freaks me out.
Right?
Women putting mascara on.
Okay.
Well, that's God. It's weird. Anything, it's freaking weird.
Okay.
Putting eye drops in is the worst thing ever in my life. I like freak out about it.
Well, yeah, your body like reflexively does not like things going near the eyeball.
Wait, some people can literally stick their finger on it and like poke it around.
Yeah, the like contact, like you really have to like make.
Yeah, dude, you
yourself
didn't have to do that. You did not have to do that. And you guys didn't see it on camera, and those who listening to the podcast, you didn't see him. The guy that just opened his eye like really. Anyways, again, off topic. Ahmaud Arbery, I'm behind him on this one. Those guys definitely deserved to be sentenced to life in prison without parole. They should not be in public.
That's some poor phrasing. You're behind him on this one? Come on.
Oh, jeez. I support the family on this one.
That's better.
All right. Let's get into the real topic of the day. We're going to bring up the FBI Trump case. This has had me, no joke, no lie. The night of the election was a weird night for me. The last election when President Joe Biden won, because I stayed up all night. Once they said that they stopped counting, once they said that the pipes burst down in Atlanta, once they said that Pennsylvania was somehow shut down and they had about 975,000 voters left to vote. Once that happened, I stayed up all night and I said, I don't like the way this sounds. This doesn't sound right. This doesn't sound like what they said, which was, we're going to have a bunch of mail-in votes. It's going to take 2 to 3 months. There's probably going to be a lot of court cases, and we probably won't have an actual president until February, maybe March of 2021. This wasn't that, it wasn't that. And I stayed up all night. I did my own calculations. I did a video on it on my Facebook page, did a video on the Pennsylvania remaining 975,000 votes, más o menos, roundabout 975,000 votes left. Broke it down by the counties that were left remaining, broke it down by the percentage that President Donald Trump had won versus President Biden in other counties are surrounding it, and a percentage wise, and I broke it down, blah, blah, blah. And then, wife woke up the next day, said, have you been up all night? I said, I sure have. And she's like, what happened? Gave her the whole breakdown. And the next day is when they came out with the Pennsylvania numbers, where it was like 2.3 million votes that they counted. And I said, that's impossible. I watched the CNN. I always watch CNN and Fox News. Always. Those are always my two. CNN, Fox News. I'm sorry, MSNBC as well. I throw in there. I don't really watch the other ones. I know that they had OAN for a little bit of time, but that's not there anymore. But I watch those 3 main ones because I like to see both sides. And let's be honest here, Fox News is very conservative. CNN and MSNBC are very liberal. I don't think there's any disputing that. Would you dispute that?
I wouldn't dispute that.
Okay. Most people wouldn't dispute that. I would include NPR in the liberal side as well. I think they are, but I just don't listen to them or watch them.
Sure.
Personally. But that always loomed over me, because then after that is when we had the conspiracy theorists, people saying, oh, you're election denier, yada, yada. And I've always said to myself, and I said, look, just from a common sense point of view, just from a point of view of someone who stayed up all night, did the numbers, watched both sides, the numbers that they both said were remaining left in this state, and it was a flip state. It didn't look right to me. I wouldn't come out and say that it was a stolen election, but I would always say that it didn't look or feel right. And therefore, I could see how some people would be upset about it. People who were on the side of President Trump. I can see how they could believe that it was a stolen election, especially after the 2000 Mules documentary came out. Of course, I watched that because I watch documentaries on both sides of the aisle because I want to see what each one says, because I want to be able to see it in the middle somewhere, or at the very least be able to pick a side on how I view something or where I view something, and be able to defend my views in a conversation or in a debate. because most people today cannot defend themselves. They can't defend their views. They can't defend their stances, and they will not debate. We know that. But I want to be the type of person that can stay strong in my beliefs. This FBI raid on Donald Trump's home, President Donald Trump's home, it really is messed up to the point of I'm going to come out and say, before anything comes out, this was wrong. This was absolutely wrong. This was so beyond American. I'm disgusted at how our FBI and Department of Justice has been used to go after our political opponents. As a Democrat, I'm saying to you, I am disgusted at how often the FBI turns a blind eye to certain people and go after others. I'm disgusted at it. I was disgusted with everything they were doing with President Trump from the beginning. And I did not like President Trump. I was not a Trump person. I did not vote for Donald Trump. I did not like him personally. I respected him as a business person, kind of. Are you serious, Jose? It fell through the cracks just because it wasn't a police officer shooting an unarmed black man. Typical Democrat. Yeah, I think that article did. Ahmaud Arbery article did fall through the cracks.
Right. I would. And is that the Democrat take on it? That
no, I think that it was just a common sense. Like I didn't hear very much about the Ahmaud Arbery case.
I honestly, I thought that was a jab at like the liberal media not highlighting it because it didn't involve a police officer.
That's exactly what I was putting it as.
Right. That's what I.
All right, so you caught it.
Yeah, that's what I assumed
right,
you were
cool.
saying.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Okay.
Back to the FBI though. This is fucked up. That's it. There's no defending this. The only people the only type of person who would defend this are the people who would wear a pussy hat. The only type of person that would defend this is a person who would take a plan B when they're not even pregnant or didn't even have sex. The only type of person that would defend this would be a person who would show up to a Supreme Court justice's home with red paint in their vagina area. That's the only type of person that would defend this. Because at this point, you can't defend it. You have to sit back and say, there has to be a reason. That's all you can really say. There has to be a reason behind it. Am I wrong in that assertion?
Well,
what's your take on what you've seen so far about it?
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just wondering, what is a pussy hat?
You don't remember when Donald Trump got elected and all these women showed up and did a march down in Washington, D.C.?
No.
And they had hats with little cat ears on them. No. You never seen pussy hats?
I didn't see the pussy hats.
That's what happens when you're a progressive. You don't see these hats.
Yeah, that's me. I'm a big old progressive right over here. You caught me. Just kind of like you. You're a typical Democrat. Right?
Typical Democrat.
Yeah.
Let's go, Brandon. Coming after me. This is wrong. I don't care how your feelings are on Donald Trump, because I'm telling you, I did not like Donald Trump. I went after Donald Trump for the first 2 years. I thought he was a complete jackass. I thought he was an asshole. That's all mostly because I was not watching two sides of the media.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I was in Democrat land.
Sure.
So which means that I was in liberal land.
Yeah.
There is no progressive anymore. There is no moderate Democrat anymore.
No, the center is gone.
It's gone. It's absolutely decimated. I don't miss it because I am it.
Yeah.
But it's lonely.
Hey,
it's very lonely.
Well, apparently I'm a progressive, but I thought I was sort of a centrist.
I know you and me are pretty close. I always tell people I wish that there were no labels, and if there were to be a label on me, if I were to be anything but a Democrat, it'd be probably libertarian.
That's what I always say, like small L libertarian, not the Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
Like
not Ron Johnson or whatever.
Right. Libertarian in what it used to mean. And just like small government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want the government telling me what I can and can't do. And I don't want them in my bedroom or in my bank account.
Yep.
or in my business dealings.
Yep.
If I'm not breaking the law, then back the fuck up.
And I feel like most people, if they just heard that,
Yeah.
would probably be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Instead of, hey, let's legalize all psychedelics because we want you to be emotionally healthy.
Yeah,
I feel like that's where a lot of it's going.
yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. I think it is. But FBI executes search warrant at Mar-a-Lago. They're investigating a fucking document, bro. Like,
Yeah.
we're
It's a
talking about the
document
National
investigation.
Archives. We're talking about the archives, okay? We're talking about documents that President Trump has every authority in the world prior to him taking it. He had every authority in the world to say, even though it's labeled classified, I'm unclassifying it.
Sure.
He could do that. He was the president. He can unclassify anything he wants.
I was gonna say, yeah, he was like he's the guy who gets to decide what's classified.
He classifies.
Yeah. The classifier.
Not only that, they stated in this article, somewhere in it, that, excuse me, I had a burp there, that that President Trump had been working with his attorneys and the FBI and the National Archives about some documents that he took when he took all his crap from his office. If anyone has ever moved an office because they went from one job to the other and they're in sales, like my job in sales as a mortgage loan officer, they want to make sure you don't take your client information with you because the clients belong to the bank.
Sure.
I get it. And I was always very careful about it, but there has been instances where like, hey, I forgot something in my desk. Can I come grab it? Sure. But we need to be there to watch you grab it. And when you leave, we got to make sure that, what's in it is not what it is. There's almost always something that you took that didn't belong. And you're like, oh, man, I forgot. I didn't need this.
Yeah.
Shred it, be done with it. Now you have to worry about it. I'm not saying that's what Donald Trump did. I'm not saying that I am telling you what he did or did not do. What I'm going to say is what it says in this article. Can you scroll up a little bit, please? No, the other way. And then I'm going to read down. Their take echoes the consensus of other experts. If you read the consensus of other experts, because this is CNN Politics right here. There's a CNN article. They are saying their take echoes the consensus of other experts who operate in the corner of the legal world. That should be a red flag automatically.
Yeah.
There could be a consensus on many things. There's a consensus out there that guys can just chop their dick off and become women. There's a consensus out there. Does that mean that it's right or wrong?
Sure.
So that should be a red flag. Pop up automatically. Consensus of other experts who operate in the corner of the legal world that deals with the handling of classified material. I've had a top secret SCI clearance in the military. For any of you out there who did not know, I was in military intelligence. I had top secret clearance that pretty much only people in the NSA and high level FBI would have. I would make decisions to hunt certain people or not to hunt certain people. I had the top level security clearance. I understand what it's like to have classified material in your possession. I know what it's like to classify material when you send out an email. I know what it's like to stamp it appropriately, cover it in a manila envelope and stamp it that accordingly, and how to send it in a way that it does not become in the hands of someone who does not belong to, or who does not have the clearance that can even hold that type of material. I can speak from a level of understanding in this situation here. The president took documents that likely were classified material. That does not mean that he didn't declassify them before he left. It also doesn't mean that he did declassify them before he left. What it means is that he likely had classified material in his possession when he emptied out his desk. And I'm guaranteed Donald Trump didn't empty out his own desks.
What?
I guarantee he had people just take whatever's in that desk, whatever's in there, grab it, just put it in boxes, let's go. It's highly unlikely the DOJ would have pursued and a judge would have granted such a politically explosive search warrant without extraordinary evidence. just come out and say what it was that you were looking for. Just come out and say what was the evidence that you had that was so extraordinary that you had to send the FBI in the broad daylight to go raid the home of the president, of the previous president of the United States of America, while he was in New York, while you already been working with him for months. Provide that, because from what we have already heard from the mouth of the attorney for Donald Trump is that they showed up with a warrant, right? Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
That they would not give them, they would only let them look at. And then they did not allow them to be in there as they took whatever it is that they were looking for and brought it into their own possession. That is against so many things personally, but it's against illegal search and seizure. That's a right that we all have.
Yeah.
That when you have a warrant that the police have to go into your house to take something that they believe was used in a crime, mind you,
right,
that you deserve to know what they took and you deserve to be there as they go through it all. They're not going to arrest you, take you away, and then ransack your house. They're going to have you sit there and watch them destroy your entire house, all your belongings, take whatever the hell they want, and let you watch it, and then they're going to arrest you once they potentially find what it is they're looking for.
That's the Fourth Amendment.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Scroll down a little bit more so I can read this last part here. As far as I can tell, this is a quote from Stephen Aftergood, Federation of American Scientists. What the hell does that mean? Federation of American Scientists. Why is he even providing a quote? But the quote
that sounds made up.
Right. The quote says, as far as I can tell, which is
allegedly
it's his version of it.
Absolutely.
I'm assuming his gender there. The FBI is not prone to the kind of, first of all, they are prone to many things, especially nowadays, to what members of Congress have called a banana republic-like invasion. So what he's saying is the FBI is not prone to the kind of invasion that many members of Congress would call a banana republic. And it wouldn't even be members of Congress that would call it that. It'd be members of countries, previous citizens of countries that turned communist would absolutely call this in a banana republic-like invasion. The end quote here, that doesn't happen, especially with a court order. Shut up, dude. Shut up. Because we're about to go into some events that the FBI were involved in that they did not do this for. And it was not for a piece of paper that was stamped with confidential information. All right. We're going to get into how the fact that the FBI has been involved in, this is now the third election cycle in a row that the FBI has
allegedly
colluded with Democrats to rig the election.
Allegedly.
Covering my bases here. Third election cycle in a row that the FBI have either done or not done something in order to what seems like help one side over the other. Number one, Russian hoax. This is, you see the article right there. It wasn't a hoax. People with scant illusions about Trump are volunteering to help him execute one of his big lies. Trump said the entire time, I didn't do nothing with Russia. What are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? I go ahead.
Yeah,
look into what you want.
I'm sure. That investigation, that one that took like years, where they really were doing every effort to find that Russian connection. I'm sure they just missed it.
Remember, if you recall how that all stemmed, it was a person who overheard another person talking on the phone to another person at a bar with what they believed to have been the Trump administration, and they were talking about Russian connections. That's where it stemmed from.
Well, that sounds like collusion to me.
That just sounds like I can't imagine. I just can't imagine going to the police with that kind of evidence and saying this person was talking about, this other person killing somebody, and I overheard them at the bar talking about it to someone that didn't. It's just fucking dumb. The next article right there: Trump Russia Steele dossier analyst charged with lying to FBI. It was a freaking hoax. It was a hoax. They found out. It says a Russian analyst who worked on a dossier that made unsubstantiated claims linking Donald Trump to the Kremlin has been arrested in the U.S. For how long did they say that it was Russian collusion? Donald Trump was working with them. Some report came out. I forgot what the freaking stupid report was called. And they're like, well, that doesn't say that he didn't do it. Yes, it does. Yes, it did. They lied to the FBI. They lied to the FBI about exactly where they got the information, how they came across it, who they were talking to, who they overheard, everything. And who did they work with? Bring up, please, Miss Hillary Clinton. They were working with the Clinton campaign. This is not something that I'm making. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is legitimate information out there. The article on the left here is exactly the type of article that they come out with during the election cycle to shut people up, to stop people from even talking about it, certain people from even talking about it. And then what does it say? The real Clinton email scandal is that a bullshit story has dominated the campaign. The subtitle: if you agree with her on policy, vote with a clear conscience about the server. Remember, this blows me away that this woman, this person, had her own private servers in her freaking house, multiple servers, multiple cell phones, multiple SIM cards, over 33,000 emails, confidential emails that were sent between her personal server at home and to another person sent unsecurely. Over 33,000 emails. And then did the FBI raid her house? Do you recall if the FBI raided her house?
I don't believe so.
They did not.
Oh, okay.
They didn't raid her house. They asked her. They asked her to provide the computers, the hardware, the cell phones, and the SIM cards. And what did they find out that she did? Do you recall? Most people don't recall this because this is what happens in America today, is that people are so bombarded with ridiculous news that they forget the things that actually matter to our freaking. Oh, I'm getting heated over here. Sorry if I'm not speaking with eloquency. The woman was found to have put cell phones and SIM cards in acid. She destroyed hard drives, multiple hard drives, destroyed multiple cell phones, destroyed multiple SIM cards in acid.
Yeah. I'm sure it was an accident. Listen, if I had a nickel for every time I dropped my hard drive in, just a vat of corrosive acid, I'd have like 12 cents.
I can't believe you'd have 12 cents. And now just a few months ago, CNN comes out with their article, Hillary Clinton personally approved plan to share Trump-Russia allegation with the press in 2016. That's what her campaign manager said. It wasn't some random person. Her campaign manager said that she decided to share information with a reporter. Uncorroborated information. They had no basis for it. And she said, yeah, let's push this because this is going to ruin him and is going to get people off of my email server. That was just another part of the election campaign. Let's bring up the last election campaign with Hunter Biden's laptop. I know you're tired of hearing about this. I'm tired of hearing about it as well. But the Hunter Biden prosecutor paused investigation before election. This is the facts, people. I don't speak anything but facts here unless I say,
allegedly.
Hunter Biden prosecutor paused investigation before election. That's a report. That means it's in the archives, the National Archives.
Yeah.
NPR came out and stated when this was all happening, they put out a tweet. Why haven't you seen any stories from NPR about the New York Post Hunter Biden story? Read more in this week's newsletter. Well, they said, we don't want to waste our time on stories that are not really stories. And we don't want to waste our listeners and readers' time on stories that are just pure distractions. It's not a distraction for the son of a vice president to use his dad's office to gain political notoriety, to gain millions and millions of dollars. And it blows my mind how people just don't care about certain things, but they care about other things. This is a story. This was a story before they came out with the videos of him smoking crack with prostitutes. It came out. This was before he was found to be in pictures with little girls. This is before he came out with audio voicemails of his father saying, I think we're okay. I think you're good. Don't worry about nothing. We got it handled. With audio saying, we got to give 10% back to the big guy. Before the guy came out and said who the big guy even was. Because they paused the investigation before the election. Because that's what the FBI did for President Joe Biden. Well, at that point, Vice President prior Joe Biden. But that's not all. Bring up what happened with Project Veritas and Biden's daughter's diary. They did go after Project Veritas. The FBI did go after them. They didn't go after, Hillary Clinton. They didn't go after Hunter Biden. They did go after President Trump for, we still don't know yet, just some paperwork that was classified. Wait, I don't know if that's a big deal or not. I don't know until they provide us with exactly what they're looking for. Just tell us. But this right here, FBI investigating Project Veritas links to Biden's daughter's stolen diary. You would think that that's not really that big of a deal. Okay, Ashley Biden had a freaking diary. Who cares? They took pictures of what was in the diary. They show exactly the disgustingness of Joe Biden. The utter and sheer disgustingness of Joe Biden. And the FBI came after Project Veritas, even though Project Veritas went to them stating, we have President Biden's daughter's diary. We believe it was stolen. We did not steal it, but it's in our presence because someone wants us to write a story about that. The FBI said, nah, it's nothing. It's nothing. You're good. Ain't nothing to worry about, blah, blah. And then not that long after, the FBI executes a search warrant. Even though Project Veritas came to them and said, this was stolen. We believe it was stolen. It has information in here. We need to verify that this is the daughter, Biden's daughter's diary before we, go on with these stories of how disgusting President Biden is. They did go after Project Veritas. They did, and again, they raided President Donald Trump's. That's never been done before. If this was Obama, would this be an uproar? If let's say this was 3 years ago under President Trump, and the FBI raided Obama's house for the National Archive because they said there were some documents that he took that he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Would Democrats be in an uproar?
Yeah, I'm sure they think it was fair, even. If I know the Democrats, and let me tell you, because I'm
very level-headed
one. Yeah. They're a
as a progressive,
as the resident progressive here. They're a level-headed people, to be sure. They always look at the facts. They're an unemotional people.
Sure. I'm kind of in that group, and I can speak from inside. That's the thing. People, you could be on the same team. It's like saying the Bills suck and you're a Bills fan.
Yeah.
You can say that I can tell you that the Seahawks freaking are a terrible team because they decided to throw the ball on the 1 yard line instead of passing the ball.
Yeah.
That was a stupid idea. That was a dumb idea. Does that mean I'm not a Seahawks fan? No. You can call out your own team. You can come out and say, man, they've been fucking up a lot.
No.
A lot. You can't do that?
Jose, if you deviate from whatever party's, mantra,
speaking points?
Yeah, then you are clearly the opposite side.
You're the enemy.
You're the enemy. Exactly. If you
That's all
have
it is.
any deviations from the script, then clearly you're the enemy.
Yeah. So I'll be the enemy. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Enemy of the Democrats, but I'm for the people. They're gonna say, but it was classified info. So was Hillary's emails. So were her private servers. So were her private cell phones. They gave her ample time to delete what she needed to. They simply asked her for the servers. They asked her for the cell phones. That's what they do when you are in a position of power. We know that. Billionaires and multimillionaires don't get arrested in front of everybody. The police call them and say, hey, we're going to arrest you. We recommend you come in. Everybody knows that. They don't raid. They just don't do it, especially politicians. They don't do that. They don't raid the president's home. That's never been done. Never been done. And again, just to reiterate, the president has the authority to declassify any document he wants. So we don't know if what they were looking for was already declassified by him. We don't know if we don't know what was in the safe that they destroyed to open. And what were they looking for? That's all we need to know. As the American public, we deserve to know immediately, not 2 days later. We deserve to know immediately what were you looking for, and we deserve the ability to say, yeah, that's really bad. Yeah, you deserve to send the FBI in to get that immediately, because that put America at risk and it put Americans at risk with the classified information that he had in his possession that was not, secured properly. Again, he was already working with the FBI and with the National Archives. It was already working with them. They told him that they had documents. They told him that they had boxes of stuff, that they probably had some stuff in there. And the attorneys were meeting with the FBI. They were figuring out what they're going to do with it. The FBI or National Archives told them, hey, we know it's in your basement here. Just put a padlock on it. You'll be all right for now. This has been months in the making. What you may not know is that the FBI is not allowed to do something like this within 90 days of an election. Did you know that?
No, I hadn't heard that.
They're not allowed to do this within 90 days of an election. Guess what day yesterday was?
91?
91.
Hey.
91 days. That's quite the coincidence. Hunter Biden has never been raided by FBI. The pedophiles listed who were in cahoots with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and their child sex slavery ring also have never been raided by the FBI. We have to understand how important this day, yesterday was it? Was it yesterday, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
How important that day is for true democracy, because we've been hearing from Democrats for past 2 years since the January 6th insurrectionists, that it was a threat to democracy. It's a threat to democracy. It's a threat to democracy. Everything's a threat to democracy.
Absolutely. Fascism.
Trump is a fascist. He's a dictator. What do you call this then? What do you call Joe Biden today? Is he not displaying fascist tendencies? Is he not displaying dictatorship tendencies?
Nah, Big Brother's our friend.
Is the FBI raiding the residence of a past president not a threat to our democracy? Because if they can do that to President Donald, if they can do that to a president, man, if they can do that to a president, if they can sue Alex Jones for $4 million for conspiracy theories, what the hell do you think they're going to do to us? What do you think they're going to do to us who do not fall in line? If you don't think there's going to be the midterm election is just one thing. I think that there's going to be some something that happens. What I believe is going to happen. I'm going to end it with this. This is my belief of what's going to happen. Midterm election is going to come. There's going to be a red wave. Rochester might even vote Republican because we have, LaRon Singletary that's running for Congress. And he's well known in the city of Rochester. And they just redrew the lines. I think it includes like Erie County. It includes a lot of conservative areas. But on top of that, he has a lot of Democratic votes. As long as he does the right things, he might actually beat Congressman Joe Morelle. He might. Right? That might happen. A Republican winning that would be crazy, but he has a chance. But we will see a red wave in general around this country. That's when they're going to destroy our country. They're not going to do it under Democrats. They're not going to do it while Democrats have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. They're going to pass all their laws that will give them the ability to destroy everything about the American way of life. They're going to allow Republicans in because they're going to allow them to take the heat for everything. Everything is going to get destroyed under or after the red wave. And they're going to keep going after Donald Trump so that they can stop him from even running. But Big Daddy DeSantis is still behind right there. He could still run.
I think DeSantis is going to be the one who runs.
He won't be.
You don't think so?
He will not be.
What do you think?
I'm telling you what I think. He will not run.
You're just Trump?
Trump will run. DeSantis will not.
I hope not. But
if DeSantis were to choose, this is what I would prefer. If I were to say that this would be the Republican ticket, because I can't even fathom what Democrat ticket they would put together. Unless it's Tulsi Gabbard, I don't want to see who else they got.
It's going to be Kamala and Mayor Pete.
Bro, I'll pee on my own self. The Republican ticket should be DeSantis president, Trump vice president. Or Trump should not run. And he should be the behind the scenes guy that leads like the super PACs. Basically, he should be the who's that billionaire that donates to Democrats all the time?
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of his name.
That Beto O'Rourke just got $1 million from.
Oh, no kidding.
Everybody knows. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah. I'm not. This is a little bit further into conspiracy theories than I'm, comfortable with, because I just don't. I don't believe. I do believe. I absolutely do believe. I'm just afraid to say it, I guess. That a billionaire, multi-billionaire can just choose to destroy America. I'd hate to believe that, but it's certainly plausible, considering he's donated to BLM, considering he's donated to attorney generals who have been the ones who have destroyed any sense of discipline and order in our states. He helped Biden get into power. The CEOs of social media companies helped Biden get into power. The Google search engines were all changed. Like, of course, there's people with a lot of money who have a lot of power to get certain people into office. I get that. President Donald Trump needs to be a behind the scenes guy. He needs to, because they're gonna keep coming after Republicans. And if you want, I'm speaking to Republicans out there or conservatives as well. If you want to push your ideology forward, if you want to push conservatism forward, you have to get the man out from the front. He needs to be behind the scenes. He has to be the person that shows up unannounced or even announced to certain events that pushes the people that conservatives and Republicans want to push forward. You have to get Donald Trump behind the scenes. There's not, I'm terrified of what a Donald Trump presidency, after all of this, after FBI raids, after draining the swamp, which he promised he was going to do before, and now he's promising he's going to do again. I'm scared of what an angry Donald Trump would do. That I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of afraid of what an angry Donald Trump and an angry Republican Party would do to this country to basically do the opposite of exactly what the far left radicals and the liberal Democrats have been doing for the past 2 years. Because they're going to do the exact same thing. I lied. One last thing to really end this all, to really showcase exactly what I mean by what liberals and the far left radicals have done in this country to reverse what they've been working on for the past 60 years. Let's bring up the ACLU article there. This ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union. They've been fighting for everything race related, right? They just filed an amicus briefing urging Supreme Court to protect universities' ability to consider race in admissions. Think about that for a second before I continue. They want colleges to discriminate on race. I don't know what to say about this because it's so absurd. And they're like bragging about it. Their Twitter over here says, breaking, big, large letters. We filed an amicus brief today urging Supreme Court to protect universities' ability to consider race in college admissions. Ending these considerations would ignore our country's present-day racial inequality and threaten diversity on campuses everywhere. Do you think diversity is threatened on campuses today?
Oh, obvious. I mean, no. I'm sorry. I can't even like sarcastically answer that because I went to Brockport.
Me too.
Hey, it's a good school. But like just the discourse around race on college campuses now is it's just the worst. It's
terrible.
It's so bad.
They're pushing for black only dorms. Like,
yeah, this weird push toward like resegregation.
That's exactly what I don't understand how they don't see that.
It's so bizarre.
Isn't it weird? I'm glad you see it as well.
Anti-racism is like the new racism.
Yeah, and I'm happy that a progressive Democrat is saying that to me because I like to. It doesn't make sense. So we see exactly what the liberals, the far left radicals have done in the past. Literally, what, 2 years, 6 years, maybe. They've upended everything that they've pushed for the past 60 years. They've destroyed all of that and said we need to go back to pre-MLK.
I feel like 2016 feels like a turning
2016?
point.
So 6 years. All right. We'll give it 6 years on that one then. That's it. It's absurd. And I said I was going to end on the last thing, and I said I was going to end on this one. But I got to bring up that freaking January 6th insurrectionist son. This long-haired freak. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to be sorry about that. This kid turned in his dad. Turned in his dad as one of the insurrectionists at the Capitol building. And then when his dad decides to not take the plea bargain, they came to all of them and said, I'm gonna give you a plea bargain. I'll let you out of these solitary confinement that you've been in for the past, illegal amount of time. He said, no, I'm taking this to court. I want to fight this. I'm going to fight this. Well, he didn't win, obviously. The guy got 7 years. 7 years. And his son, who turned him in, who said, hey, my dad was one of the guys at the January 6th insurrection. He was there. He was one of the guys that actually went into the Capitol building. You should arrest him and take him in because I am distraught at being his son. And he literally went on CNN and stated, they asked him, do you agree with the final sentence? Do you agree that like this was a good sentence, 7 years for your father for being an insurrectionist? And he absolutely agreed with it. This is exactly what the radicals have been pushing for. When they sat there and said, we are not going to do like the communists did, where they pushed family members to call in or to turn in those who do not agree with us or those who do wrong. We're not going to turn your kids against you. That's the biggest thing. We're not going to turn your kids against you. We're not trying to get in between parents and their kids. Yes, the fuck they are. Because I can't fathom a son disagreeing on ideological means. Like, hey, my dad is obviously a conservative and I'm obviously a far left radical, and he should go to jail because I just don't agree with what he did. I can't fathom. Can you fathom calling in your dad so they can arrest him, and then when he gets sentenced to 7 years, you're not going to have your dad for 7 years and you agree with it? Austin, help me feel better about this somehow. Somehow.
That is wild. And it's just, you know what's the most disappointing thing to me?
Ooh, tell me.
It's got a Metal Gear Solid 2 poster behind him. Do you know what that game's about? It's about the government like using the media to control people and alter their opinions.
Really?
Yeah. That's what Metal Gear Solid, that's like the main plot of Metal Gear Solid 2. The fact that that's behind him really upsets me.
That's amazing insight. I truly appreciate that insight.
Yeah.
Because the fact that this idiot doesn't even realize that.
No, it's shocking irony. Yeah, the one with like the guy holding the gun in the red. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Metal Gear Solid 2, which that's like the whole point of that game is the government like using the internet to like sow discord and like the populace and stuff.
I quit my job. Very few people know this. I worked for a bank. I'm not going to say who.
Yeah.
It's very easy to find out. Who actually, on their own, went through people's checking accounts and credit cards to see if they made any purchases in the DC area that day. And they turned those people in to the government.
I don't like that.
I worked for that bank. And I heard about that. And I think I lasted maybe another month. And I said, I've very few people I've told that to. Yeah. I've said, what I've told people is that, oh, they were making us tests for COVID, and I didn't feel like testing because it was stupid, because you can test negative and you still had to wear a mask, and I didn't feel like doing that. I was working from home. I didn't need to test.
Wear a mask at home.
I didn't need to test because I was working from home.
Yeah.
If I went into the office, then I'd have to test.
Sure.
So it's not a real argument. I just didn't want to talk about that part. But it's public information that this big, huge bank went through people's checking accounts and credit card statements, looked for any transactions that were in and around the DC area that day, and supplied that to the federal government. Dude, it hurt because I loved this bank. I love this bank. And man, it hurt. It really hurt. So I'm no longer
with that bank. Good.
Yeah. I'm no longer with that bank. I stood my ground. And you guys need to go back to the beginning if you weren't there when I talked about the verse of the week. Deuteronomy 31:6, be strong and of good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, he it is that doth go with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. We're going to go through some weird times. It's only going to get worse before it gets better. Trust me, it's only going to get worse. But we need to stick together. We need to fight some of this stuff, because we can fight some of it off. We can at least provide a future where we can be together. Friends can live together in communities. Family, friends can live together in communities. You don't have to live by yourself. You don't have to feel like you're always by yourself. I think that's the biggest problem is that with the silent majority, right? Is that they're so disconnected. Now they're starting to come together. But a lot of people who live in big cities which are Democrat ran, they're so disconnected. Don't be disconnected. I promise you there's more people that think like me that can at least be a critical thinker on a lot of these topics. I really truly believe if we speak loudly enough, if we talk about these things in public and are very vocal about our feelings of, look, this isn't a Democrat Republican thing. This is just our Bill of Rights thing. This is just our rights. And most of us just care about paying our bills, taking our families on vacation once in a while, having fun with life, being able to have a couple of toys. Like, we don't want very much. Many of us don't want very much. I don't want very much. I go camping and take a vacation once a year. I take a vacation once a year. That's it. That's all I want. And I truly believe that most Americans feel that same exact way. But if they don't hear it enough, if they don't see it in action enough, then they're not going to speak up themselves. They're not going to feel empowered to speak up themselves, because not everyone is a believer in God and the fact that God will always be there for them no matter what. Not everyone is a believer like that. So you need to speak up, and you need to be strong and of good courage. I implore you to reach out to me if you need to talk to somebody. I get so many messages per day from you guys. It's amazing. I love it. I appreciate it. I don't love it to boost myself up. I love it because I know that I'm impacting somebody out there. And being a top 50 podcast for political commentary is a big thing in this country. We're 46. Number 46 in the country. That means in one state, at least one state, we're number one. Keep it up, because we're not alone. And we'll be all right. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. We just got to have a level head and don't go after them the way they came after us. And that's very hard to do, because trust me, I'm still upset about the whole COVID thing. I'm still upset about the mask. I'm still upset about the mandatory vaccination. I'm still upset about the, shutdowns. I'm still upset about the kids that are, committing suicide. I'm still upset about the men who are killing themselves every single day because they don't have a job anymore, because they feel like they can't supply for their family. The women out there who are getting beaten at home because their men are home more now than ever before. The kids that are so behind in school that they'll never have a future. The kids that are going to a college that are learning things that are just so fucked up, and they're never going to be ready for real life. Or they're going to be taught to completely be disoriented on what real life really means. Speak up. Talk to each other on a person-to-person basis. And that's really what this podcast is about. So you can go out there and feel empowered to say, look, I'm not the only one that feels this way. We can disagree. That's okay. Let's have a conversation and find a way to come in the middle, have a drink, and still walk away friends. If you're out there in Hollywood land, I implore you to get out of there. But before you do, make sure you hit up Kanye West and John Leguizamo. Tell them I'm still trying to get a hold of them. And once they hear Austin on the 1s and 2s, they'll be here immediately. And
Kanye, John, come on.
Call me back. Austin, hit that funky music.